Oh, I know I haven't muted my computer, so I better do that really quickly before I start hearing myself. All right, I think I've done that now. All right, well, welcome. Welcome, welcome. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. Tonight is episode 4 of my Christmas in July series, and I hope you've been enjoying my series so far. So on Monday, let's see, do I have the projects? I think I might have the projects handy. Let's see, I have Tuesday's project. I don't know what I did with Monday's. Oh, I have Monday's projects. So here is Monday's project. So I showed you how to make this tag, and then I showed you how to turn it into a card. But this paper I made, and it mimics one of the papers in the designer series paper pack that I was featuring on here, which is the one horse open sleigh. So I showed you how to paint this background, and it just takes a little water painter and some ink, and you're good to go. So it kind of gives that faux birch look. So I hope you enjoyed that little tip on creating that look. And then on Tuesday, my Tune In Tuesday class, I created 4 cards, and 2 out of the 3 were non-traditional Christmas card colors. And so here was one, and it featured copper clay. And again, here's that one horse open sleigh designer series paper in the background, and that little hut there, little cabin there, does tie into the copper clay elements here. The door is definitely copper clay. The rest of it kind of blends in too. And I used some of the in color twine and some of the snowflake assortment embellishments. And this Tuesday card class was featuring the aspen dies. So these trees, my favorite, one of my favorite dies. I love these trees. So it's just like a little peekaboo into the scene. It's like you're peering out from the woods into a clearing. So that was one card. And then the second card was a pretty traditional color combination for Christmas, blue and white. That's one of the combinations that's traditional. And again, I used the aspen dies. And on here, I showed you just how you could put some snow in the background with some white craft ink and the little splotchy, for lack of a better word, the little dotted stamp that is in that stamp set as well. And then some more in color twine. Jute trim is what it's called. And then one of my more favorite cards, definitely non-traditional Christmas, definitely more masculine, more neutral, more nature feel to this. And again, the aspen dies. And the background, rather than have just a plain crumb cake background, I showed you how to take a blob that was in that perched in a tree, I forget the name of the stamp set, but the one that goes with these dies. I showed you how to take that blob stamp and kind of create like almost a camo effect in the back, but it just looks like you're looking into some sort of field or something like that. So that was my third card. And then hold on just a second. Let me get my project from last night. And so here was my project from last night. It's just a little box here, and it opens up. Let me take the ribbon off it, and it opens up, and so you can put a treat in it. And I showed you last night, the trick about that was I showed you how to make your own boxes to the size that you need them. So I hope you found that helpful as well. During my Christmas in July series, I am doing a video every night, Monday through Friday. But if you place an order of $35 or more in my online store, then you will get the project kit for the first 3 nights projects. You'll be able to create 2 of each of the projects. So 2 of the 4 cards I showed you and 2 of the box that I just showed you. I'll mail that kit right to you for free once you place your order in my online store. And the link is in the description of those videos. If you are a demonstrator, I know that with the recent changes to the platform, you may be having a difficult time placing an order. I don't think that they've taken into consideration that you might want to order a project kit from somebody else to get instructions and supplies and stuff. So I can help you with that, and we can talk offline if that's the case. And Betty, you're in Canada. Oh, and obviously I can't ship to Canada, but I'm so glad you're watching, and certainly, the directions are easy enough to follow, I think, on the camera anyway. So tonight I have another card for you, and tomorrow night I've been planning this project for at least 2 months now. Not that it's taken me that long to put it together. It's just I knew I wanted to do it. I had to wait for my Christmas in July series though. So it's a lot of fun, and I'm going to be reusing something that I used right before the summer. So it's a little home decor piece, and I think you're gonna love it. I can't wait to switch mine out. So shall we get started for tonight? Oh, I should have said that the project kit, it's $35 or more in the online store. If your order is $50 or more, US money obviously, then you'll not only get that project kit for free, but you'll earn a $5 coupon that you can use in August. And if your order is $65 or more, then I will also throw in an additional gift, and that is a roll of some sort of Christmas ribbon, whether it's the red and gold dotted ribbon that I used last night, or the white glittered organdy ribbon that I'm going to use tonight and I used on Monday, I think. I'm not sure what day I used it on. I think it was Monday. And there was another option. Oh, faux red, the faux linen red ribbon. All of it great choices for Christmas. But let's get started tonight with tonight's project. Let me get rid of my keyboard. Make sure you're saying hello in the chats. I'm not going to be able to really pay attention anymore, but I'd still love to know where you're watching from. So I've turned you down, but that was actually up, wasn't it? All right. So here we go. Let me move my little monkeys. I was unpacking. Yeah, this was several weeks ago, and I'm just unpacking that box because I packed my supplies for classes in boxes, in paper pumpkin boxes. So I needed an empty one. All right, so tonight we are going to focus again on this One Horse Open Sleigh Designer Series paper. It is such beautiful, beautiful paper. And the back sides, what I would consider the back sides, are all really great designs too that can go for obviously any season, but they tie in the colors. But on the other sides, we've got these scenes. I'm using this one on Saturday in my in-person class. Honestly, this one is a little funky to me, and some people have made like snowmen looking up and all that stuff, but I really like this pattern on the back. So that might be one where I use a back pattern more than the front. But there's all sorts of really, really pretty patterns. This pattern it's almost like the one we're going to use tonight, but it's a little bit more muted. It's as though it's in a heavy snowstorm. So there's Lost Lagoon and Pool Party at play in here, and Early Espresso. And so we're going to use, see how these are very similar? It's almost like it's the same tree. It's just not snowing as heavy here, and much more snow here. But that's what we're going to be using tonight. And so I'm pulling in a base of Lost Lagoon. And Lost Lagoon used to be an in color, and it was so popular that Stampin' Up! Brought it back as one of the new core colors. So this is around for a while, at least 5 years, maybe longer. And you can see how it does go nicely with some of those colors. I'm also going to bring in a piece of Early Espresso because that goes with that tree very nicely. And look at how wonderful these two colors look together. All right, so I've got that, and we'll bring in some basic white in a little bit, but this is just your basic card base. So it is 5.5 by 8.5, scored and folded in half at 4.25. This piece of early espresso is just 1/4 of an inch smaller in all the dimensions. So it is 4 inches by 5.25. And now we're going to cut this one down to fit on here. This is 6 by 6. And because this was 4 by 5.25, I'm going to go just another 1/4 inch less. And so I want something that is 3 7 fifths. No, 3 3/4 inches by 5 inches. So I need to find which part of this picture I want to keep. And there's, I could kind of cut it off right here, and that's a pretty spot. I can shift it over, and that's kind of a nice look. I like the balance of this little tree over here with this big tree, so I think that's what I'm gonna do. And then I like having the ground in here, but I want to make sure that I get the top of this tree. I just think it looks a little bit better if I don't cut off the top of that tree. I mean, it probably looks fine either way. So I'm going to make the cut first, going this way. And then remember I said I wanted it to be 3 3/4. So I'm cutting off a little bit of the bottom. Now this we can set aside, and we can put that on the inside of our card. So I'm going to set that aside. And now remember, this was a little bit too long. I wanted this to be 5 inches long. I'm going to cut off actually a little bit of this tree over here, which is fine. And there we have that little piece. This is a very, very simple card. And that's kind of the name of the game when you're dealing with Christmas cards, if you're like me and you have a lot to send. By the way, go ahead and chime in the chat how many Christmas cards you typically send. Like, I would love to know what you do. Thank you, Betty. That was perched in a tree. Thank you. Hello, Sheila. And Star is visiting from Cape Cod. Well, she's visiting online from Cape Cod. Busy down on the Cape, Star? Sorry, I'm asking you guys to answer all sorts of questions, but I really would love to know about how many Christmas cards do you do each year? Oops, that's kind of coming out right now. Before I put this on, I probably should have stamped it, but it doesn't matter because if I don't stamp it right now, I'm gonna not be able to use it anyway. I'm going to have to think very creatively if I mess up the stamping. So yes, I am going to stamp directly on this piece. Now I'm going to bring in the Horse and Sleigh photopolymer stamp set. This does have a set of coordinating dies, and these images are a little bit smaller, quite a bit smaller actually than the stamps that are inside. I love this sleigh, Horse and Sleigh, which is how it gets its name. I love that stamp. You do need the largest clear block in order to do that. So let's see, Sheila does typically 30, Betty does about 100. That's about what I do. Oh, and you have yours already made. You are a step ahead of me, friend. And Star does about 20 cards. All right, so I'm gonna take this little bunny that's in here. All right, we're going to just take a little bunny, and the bunny does have a coordinating, let me show you. You could stamp it on basic white and die cut it. Look at these nice little snow drifts. You could bring in some snow drifts there too. So there's lots of little dies in here that you can use. I'm not going to use any. I'm going to keep it fairly simple. And I'm going to bring in, I think, gray granite. Now, why am I choosing gray granite? Because I'm just doing the outline of my little bunny. I don't want the outline to be brown because that's the tree color. This gray granite has a nice tone to it because it ties in both grays and browns. So that's why I'm choosing gray granite over some other color. Smoky slate would probably look fine too, but it's a little bit too cold for these warm tones as far as I'm concerned. So now I'm going to stamp this. You know, I can see some red in there. I had better make sure that this stamp is clean, because if it's not clean, that's not gonna be very good. I'm gonna go ahead. I was stamping with inky fingers this morning. I don't know, time kind of runs together, so I just want to make sure that this is clean. It might be on the other side of it, and it looks like it might be. That might be the case, that it's on the other side. All right, so I'm going to stamp in my gray granite, and I'm going to put my little bunny over here in the snow. Okay, and so there I just have my little bunny hopping through the snow. He's a white bunny. It's almost like a ghost bunny on here. Again, if you wanted him whiter, you could stamp him on a piece of white and cut him out, or die cut him. And now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put this onto my card base. I told you this is a pretty simple card. I am going to die cut something, and that's the saying. Now you wouldn't, if you wanted to make this even more simple, you would not have to die cut the sentiment. You could just use a rectangle for the sentiment. We're going to choose a sentiment that is from here, and I'm going to choose the wishing you a season of cheer. Let's see. And then I'll probably use the and a happy new year on the inside of this. Let me get my block out. I need a long block for that. Okay. And let's see, we need a die. I'm going to use my new favorites. I've been using these quite a bit because I just got them. I put off ordering these things for so long. And that's the Stylish Shapes. And what I love about the Stylish Shapes is they have like the stitching marks on both sides. So when I die cut, not only will the die, the thing that I'm cutting out and using, have the stitch marks, but the outside of it does too. Now this is photopolymer, so I can stamp first and then die cut, or I can die cut and then stamp. Because it's photopolymer, I'm probably going to die cut first, because it's way easier not having to make sure that things are exactly in line before I do it. You know, I can be a little quote unquote crooked when I'm cutting. And then when I stamp it, it works. I don't have to use any washi tape or anything like that. I do need to use a cutting plate. So plates 1, 2, and 3 down on the bottom. And then this is just a piece of scrap white that I had. Fits it just perfectly. Let's see, make sure I see white all the way around. I do. Let me show you what I was talking about with the double stitching. All right, so you can see, let me hold this up. Hopefully it'll give it time to focus. You can see the stitching. Focus in, come on, focus in. It's not focusing very well, is it? Well, there's some stitching around here. There we go. There's some stitching around there. But also, if you look at the part that it was cut out of, there's some stitching around there. So if you wanted to, you could be very particular about how you die cut this, and you could use this as a frame. All right, so let me put that one back. Let me put that banner back. Clear my table. And now I need to decide what color ink I'm going to use. I think I'm going to use Early Espresso. sending warmth your, ooh, I didn't want sending warmth your way, did I? I wanted the cheer one. I gotta have the cheer one. There will be plenty of opportunities when you live where I live. There will be plenty of opportunities for me to use the sending warmth your way. Winters are fairly long here in Maine. I assume that they are in Canada as well. Betty, what part of Canada are you from? I'm originally from northern New Hampshire, and so it wasn't too far from Coaticook and Montreal. That I'm hoping that's straight. I'm not over it like I normally would be. Yeah, it looks pretty good actually. Good job, Sharon. Let me put that away. So now we need to put that on our card front. Now, I could just go ahead and stick that on there. I'm probably going to need dimensionals, right? Because that makes everything look better. Let's use some edges. But I think I want something else to give it a little bit of seasonal sparkle. Oh, all right. Oh, you're in Alberta, so not near me. Not near where I grew up. So I said I wasn't going to do that one. That was dumb. Well, we're going to have to go with this right now. So just I can't. I got to do it again. I need the, oh, you know what? I think I have the other saying. I have it somewhere. I know I do. I used it yesterday. Well, I can't find it. So we're just going to stick with this one. Why not? Because, yep, I can't find the other one that I had sitting around. And I had the thought like, oh, I should just hold on to this, because what if I mess up the stamping tonight? It would be nice to have the real one, a really good one to use. But we're going to go with this tonight. So I'm going to bring in, anyway, this glittered white organdy. Lots, very festive. Glitter makes everything much more festive. All right, the Rockies. Oh, so it's beautiful where you are, huh? Hi, Betty? All right, now I'm going to get out my Stampin' Seal. Now you could use tear and tape here if you wanted to as well. I'm not going to use the glue to hold my ribbon down because it's a little bit harder. You have to wait for it to dry, all that stuff. You set the stamp down on the card or to your left. Yeah, I know. Yeah. That one was the end. Wish you a Merry Christmas or a Happy New Year, though. I wanted the one that I didn't peel off because I couldn't read it backwards. That's okay. This is fine. So I'm going to determine where I want to put this. I think I want to put this right about here. You know, I think I want to put it right about there. I want to kind of balance it with my little bunny. I'm going to add this underneath it. So that's about where I want. I'm going to add just a line of Stampin' Seal. And I'm going to take my ribbon and I'm just going to zigzag it back and forth. Just like that. Let's see, do I want, let's try it a little bit. Let's try zigging it and zagging it a little bit more than what I was just going to do. So there's one. I'm making a W. I live in Wells. That's a good letter to make. Also, W is for winter. So then we can put this right over here. I think I need to spread it out a little bit more just to get it balanced in there. Let's just move this over. You get to play with it, and the beauty of the ribbon is it will give you some playtime there. All right, that's good. I'm just gonna angle this out a little bit more so it doesn't look quite so W-ish. And I'm gonna trim those ends. Let's take my dimensionals and cut up the rest of these edges to use on the back of this. There we go. right there. So the sparkle, you pick up the sparkle just by holding that card. I'm going to bring in these snowflake embellishments, and let's go ahead, and I think the best way to pick these up is with the spatula, a portion of my take your tool pick. And so we're just gonna put some snowflakes around. Let's take we'll put a little small one over here by this tree, and maybe we'll take another medium one, and yeah, we'll put it right there. So there is the outside of our card, and now we have to decorate the inside. So surely I cut a piece of basic white. I went ahead and did that. You know what though? It's probably with the other thing I set aside. I have lots cut up. Here's another pro tip for you. Especially if you like to put something in your cards, which I do. I don't like to leave them blank. You have a whole bunch of these already cut up. So I'll cut up a couple sheets worth at a time, and then I don't have to for a while longer after that. All right, so I have more in here, I think. So like here's another one. All right, so see how that's a perfect layer, and I didn't have to cut it because it was already cut. Now we can go ahead and bring back in our little tree pieces. So there's one, I think I cut off, where's that other little piece? Oh yeah, here's this other little piece. There's this little piece. So I could line, I think I could do that. There was this little tree one that I cut off. Remember, that was to the left. See, this is the little tree that was to the left of the big tree. So you could put that there. Or you could put this along the bottom. I think I'm going to use the bottom one. Whatever I don't use on the inside, I can use on the envelope. And what I should have done is trim this first. I like to leave a little bit of space at the bottom. Just gets it noticed a little bit more. And like I said, I should have, oh, look, I didn't adhere it down. Perfect. I hate it when I'm accidentally doing the right thing. So there we go. And all we need to do now is adhere that down. And I'm going to use seal because that's the first thing I grabbed. So there we have that. I will probably go back and change out that sentiment, but I want to go ahead and use that other sentiment that I had grabbed earlier. And a Happy New Year. It doesn't really make sense with the sentiment I've got out there right now, but once I change it out, it'll make a lot more sense. So, and a Happy New Year. Oop, it's not all inked yet. There we go. If you can't read it all, it's not all inked. There we go, and a Happy New Year. I just love these colors together. I think they're so peaceful and calm, and that's what people like around this that time of year. Christmas can be so hectic. Let's grab an envelope. By the way, if you don't use Stampin' Up! Envelopes, you're probably not using envelopes that are as nice as I am. I have to tell you, I used to buy, when I first started stamping, I would just go to Walmart and I would buy the envelopes that fit, you know, that were this size. They are just not the same. These are so smooth. They're beautiful to stamp on, but they're beautiful to touch. And for those of us who are paper crafters, touch means a lot. right? So I could just put that little tree right there. It makes all the difference. The feel of these envelopes screams quality. And so the recipient thinks, wow, these are, somebody didn't cheap out on me. You go to the bother of having a beautiful card inside, use a nice envelope with it. These really are not very expensive and they look so much nicer. And so there is our card and matching envelope. So as I did last night, I'm going to just kind of point your attention to a couple of things. Remember, we are in our last days of the bonus days. And so if you want to earn a free $5 coupon, you will do that with every $50 purchase that you make. And the $50 is before shipping and tax. And then you'll be able to spend that coupon in August. As I mentioned, I have this ordering special going on, and that ends on Saturday. So Saturday is the last day of this. So for orders of $35 or more, you'll get the Christmas in July project kit, which is creating two, which will allow you to create two of everything I did on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. If you place an order of $50 or more, you'll get that project kit plus a $5 bonus days coupon. For orders of $65 or more, you'll get the kit, the $5 bonus days coupon, and a spool of a Christmas ribbon. And so here is the host code that you would use. The link is in the description of the video down below. And then finally, just want to call your attention to a couple of dates. If you are local and you want to kit together for a cause that will help me raise some funds for A House for Me, which is a nonprofit in Southern Maine that helps adults with special needs live semi-independently so they can move out of their parents' house. Or if, and in some cases, some of them, no longer have parents. That's obviously a real issue because parents typically do not outlast their children. And they live independently and with supports, and are able to work and thrive in their community. So that's August 5th. I will also have kits for sale then. Not on here because it was announced after I made this. Stampin' Up! Is putting their kits on sale beginning August 1st, up to 30% off, so you can get some great bargains. Not quite as much money will go to a House for Me, but I'm going to extend it to that August 5th date just to help you out and to help A House for Me out as well. And then BOGO. Don't forget my BOGO Bonanza. Buy one, get one. So you buy something from the catalog, and then you'll get to pick something from my retired merchandise for free. That's always a hit. And then I can't wait to go to Vegas and show you some of the great things and the fun times that I'm having at a Stampin' Up! Leadership Convention. So I'm going to turn you back down so I can say goodbye. Let's see. Oh, you saw my messy computer. But thank you so much for joining me. I hope you're having as much fun as I am. I cannot wait for tomorrow night. Join me. And if you can't join me because it's a Friday night and you're out having fun, you'll be able to catch the replay. But I hope you have an amazing rest of your night and a great Friday. I am hitting the lake tomorrow because it's supposed to be around 90. And so a bunch of friends and I are going to a lake and hopefully cooling off a bit. Have a great night, everybody.